Yo guys, I'm Beagle. I'm a Jinx main and have just about 500,000 mastery points on Jinx. And today is a very special day. Lots of my friends on League of Legends have been asking questions on how to play Jinx really well, into tough lane opponents, tips and tricks, and a lot more. Well, today I'm going to give you pretty much the full rundown on Miss Jinxie. Her combos, builds for patch 8.11, tips, how to lane, her pros and cons, and a little bit more.
I'm a shooting star!
So I do want to start off with the pros and cons of Jinx because there is a hell of a lot of them. Her pros are she's a hyper carry, so she has crazy ass late game scaling on all of her abilities except for her E pretty much. She has super duper high attack speed, very high auto attack range when you max her Q, which is Fishbones. I think it's 675 range to be exact. I'll put a screenshot in the screen. She has a shit ton of AoE damage, an amazing team fight when she's peeled for it, and even the fucking slightest. She's pretty easy to learn and fun. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot more cons than this, but these are the main ones. The cons for Jinx are, A, she's very immobile. That's the most obvious one. She's super duper immobile. She's a very weak early game, especially on this patch. She has lots and lots of bad lane matchups. She requires a shit ton of peel, and she is very easily gankable considering her mobility. Now, I won't be explaining what her abilities do. I'm assuming most of you guys already know, so we'll just get straight down to business and hop into the guide. I do want to talk about my runes now. This is my personal favorite rune page, but it's completely dependent and up to the player. If you guys want to take Lethal Tempo or Potion or Fleet Footwork, go for it. They both work pretty well. I still find myself taking Fleet Footwork in hard lane matchups, so go for it, guys. Now I want to get on to the builds. Your starting item should look something like this. Doran's Shield, 1 health pot and a ward, or a Doran's Blade, 1 health pot and a ward. It really depends on what fucking lane matchup you're going up against. So if you're going up against a Draven by some active god, you probably want to take Doran's Shield. Now this patch is really fucking rough for Jinx, especially on her build path. A lot of people tend to go Stormrazor first item on her, and a lot of people don't go Stormrazor first item on her. I think I'm personally in the minority that doesn't go Stormrazor first item. I personally think the old build path is still good with Runon's Hurricane and IE. It's just a smaller power spike pretty much. So I'll do a rundown of my backs. My first back is a BF Sword, tier 1 boots, health pots, and a control ward. My second back, I aim for a Zeal and tier 2 boots if I can afford it. My third back is a Runon's Hurricane and a BF Sword. And finally, my fourth back is an IE, and then after that, it's completely optional and dependent on what the enemy team has. Now, my personal favorite build path, and this is also dependent on the enemy team composition as well, but after my Runon's Infinity Edge core, I typically just buy a Zeal and leave it in my inventory since the new IE change. Then I buy a Last Whisper or a BF Sword and build it into Bloodthirster, Lord Dominik's, or Water Reminder, whatever is needed for that current game, and the rest is optional. A good build example is Infinity Edge, Runon's Hurricane, Phantom Dancer, Lord Dominik's Regards, Guardian Angel, a lifesteal item, or a magic resist item, and then boots. Now we're going to talk about those faded, godforsaken fucking lane matchups for Jinx. Jinx has a lot of bad lane matchups and some decent ones. There aren't really any super duper good ones, but to be completely honest, Jinx is also a pretty support reliant AD carry, so if you have a Thresh or Blitzcrank that can play aggro and zone, it helps out Jinx's landing phase a lot. I'm going to go ahead and put Jinx's bad lane matchups, her iffy lane matchups, and her decent lane matchups, and also some supports that synergize really fucking well with Jinx on the screen. Now, I'll go ahead and give you guys a bit of advice on how to lane with Jinx on a few of her matchups. One common tip before I get started is poking your lane opponent off of the creeps using Fishbone's AoE damage. It takes away the fact that you have to walk up just a little bit more just to auto attack the champion themselves, and possibly let them trade with you, making it sort of pointless to poke. Draven Dear God, fuck this champion. Draven is honestly probably the worst matchup for little cute Jinx. He exploits all of her weaknesses really well. Her weak laning phase, her E-mobility, and her low early game damage, all while doing a lot of damage himself. So it's honestly ill-advised to play Jinx in a Draven, but if you do happen to go against one, you have to rely on your support. Hope to God it's a Thresh or a Blitzcrank, or just farm using Fishbones and wait till the wave shoves towards you. That being said, it is not impossible to win against Draven, but it is far from easy if he knows what he's doing. Lucian is kind of like Draven if the Lucian knows what he's doing, but a bit easier to deal with. You can abuse the fact that Lucian has a super low ass auto attack range and poke him from afar with Fishbones, but be careful for his dash in. Lucian's early game damage is whatever. Misfortune. So with Misfortune, you'll be using Fishbones quite a bit in this lane. Best advice that I can give you is don't try to trade with her because her passive is like literally made to not lose trades with you. Also pay attention to the minions' HP. MF players will always be looking for the cheesy Q off the creep for that guaranteed crit. Blitzcrank. Dear God. Well, sit behind minions and play really far back. And unless the Blitzcrank is really fucking bad, good luck. Thresh is kind of like Blitz, but a lot easier to deal with considering Thresh is a lot harder than Blitzcrank and his hook travels a bit slower. Just sit behind creeps and give him the respect that he deserves. Now on to simple and fun combos with Jinx. I'll be showing what abilities you use in order and what buttons to press on screen, and I'll also be demonstrating in a little clip. So let's get into it. This combo is probably the most common one and simple one, and really good for chasing down opponents or kiting them out while doing a lot of damage. You auto attack and you W while the auto attack animation is still going. I'll show you what I mean in this clip. This one is for when you land Flame Chompers on an enemy target. Auto attack, W, auto attack, and if you want more finishing power on the enemy, just go ahead and throw in a Super Mega Death Rocket in there. Oh yeah, I'll also give you guys a few tips that may be unknown to you guys on Jinx. Tip number 1 is your Flame Chompers, which is your E, gives you vision and have a farther cast distance than your ward. So if you want to check a bush without walking up to it, throw your Chompers in there. You can also flash mid W or R animation, and the ability will launch from the previous position from where you flashed. Your zapper isn't cancelled by stuns or anything, so you can start casting it before you get stunned, and it'll come out while you're stunned. But yeah, Jinx is a really fun AD carry and provides plenty of damage, and if peeled for, she'll just win a fucking team fight on her own. So if you plan on picking up Jinx, master her, and I promise you boys, you will not fucking regret it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys next time.
Broken, but I know I'll get over you. I'll try to focus